Hey everyone, we're going to be doing a series of reaction videos with Watcher and I, taking a look at some things that have happened and talking about maybe how folks could have reacted, how things could have went well, and why they went bad. And so we're going to have a special guest coming on Monday from South Africa, a guy I know who runs a gun shop there and is involved in some of the security businesses in South Africa. And we're going to talk about the current unrest, which is what we're seeing on the screen right now. So we thought a good way to start and maybe get your minds in the game for that discussion. We thought we would go over last year's riots in 2021 after the arrest of Jacob Zuma in South Africa. South Africa is, as the name implies, at the very tip of Africa, the very southern tip. It was originally a Dutch possession and then became a British possession in the 1800s. And it's kind of been, the history's kind of been of war, right? There have been multiple wars fought over it, and they've fought on our sides in every major war that's gone on. And so what's important to note is how far apart Johannesburg, the capital, is from Durban. Johannesburg is in the kind of the north central part of the country, and Durban is down on the shore, way over here on the coast. It's a long ways. And if there was rioting in both areas and everywhere in between, you're talking about a widespread area. And so you see here that it's not an exaggeration to say it was a societal collapse in South Africa for several days. Johannesburg is a very, very large city. It's a federal city, much like Washington, D.C. And it's one of two capitals. They actually have two capitals in South Africa. So that's where it is. It's a really big area, major urban area. Now down in Durban, which is in a province called KwaZulu-Natal, they had a ship that had over a million rounds of ammo for South African police service on it, and the ammo went missing and has not been recovered.
Oh boy, that's not good.
Yeah, it's not cool at all.
Well, gee, I sure hope none of that turns out like the whole Fast and Furious thing, where in a few years
Right?
you're gonna see it used for nefarious purposes. I'm sure that would never happen,
That would
Joe.
never happen. Never happen.
God damn it. Of course, hey, just a thought here, but like, what's a little further up the coast here? I mean, literally
Huh.
just a little boat
Just a little
ride.
hop, skip, and a jump, and you're in Somalia. Weird,
Weird.
weird craziness. And if you look there between Madagascar and the mainland, there's a set of islands called the Comoros Islands. And it's been overthrown by French mercenaries like 37 times in its history. So, anyways, it's an area known for conflict and region. Right. So Jacob Zuma, he was the former president of South Africa. He was charged with corruption. Uh, he started out his career as an anti-apartheid activist, just like most politicians in South Africa did. And he was a member of the ANC along with Mandela and several others. But after he left office, he was charged with corruption, and he refused to show up for trial. So that's why they arrested him in July of 2021, which sparked the riots. Oh,
Oh,
look at that.
wow,
Look
that's
at that.
topical.
What a coincidence.
Hmm. Oh, hey! it's
So here you
it's
see
this is a
all
real
the usual
this
suspects.
is a real who's who rogues gallery, isn't it?
And
Hey,
look at the Chinese guy
if the
standing
next
right
one
there.
is she, I'm gonna fall out of my chair. Hey!
What are the odds of that? You totally
That's
called that.
Putin too. And why can I not remember his name? Modi.
Yeah, Modi, Narendra Modi. Yeah.
Didn't Zuma specifically come to power promising to institute certain societal changes?
Absolutely. He's kind of a stringer for the EFF, and the EFF is the hardcore communist group out there that wants to expatriate all land from anyone of white descent and then turn it over to those who are not. of white descent. And so that kind of caused a little bit of controversy, but not as much as it not happening. So he's just had a long history of criminal charges and then not either not appearing for them or magically having them dismissed at very opportune times.
Or the people who are filing complaints against him just disappearing.
They happen to disappear. And what's significant, and we saw that in the photos, is that he also brought South Africa into the BRICS organization, right? And BRICS is the Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa coalition. So, and that's why they're all up there shaking hands. They're crazy.
So, I mean, let's get more serious here. I'm pretty sure, isn't Zuma the one that specifically got elected on the back of, shall we say, adopting the Zimbabwe model? Yeah?
Exactly. And that's what I'm talking about. The expatriation of land from...
But it wasn't just land. I thought it was also businesses and personal property over a certain limit.
So one of the things that he's done that if you ask any South African about is he's really ruined their economy by instituting a set limit on percentages of each race that you're allowed to employ. So the intent was obviously to increase Black employment. But what it's done is it's made it harder. So let's say my company, I already had 80% Black people employed. Well, when a great qualified applicant comes in, but he's 81%, I can't hire him. I have to hire someone from a different minority or lastly, a white person to fill that slot. So they've removed the ability to hire based on your position needs, and you have to based on a percentage of everything.
I hope nobody suggests anything like that here in America.
Like they do quite regularly. And so the reason why we saw a lot of rioting in KwaZulu-Natal is that's where he's from. And so in South Africa, everything is somewhat tribal, right? And so when he was arrested, the people in KwaZulu-Natal felt like they were all being arrested.
Well,
right?
let's be more clear. When Joe says that it's tribal, he doesn't mean the way that we say it here, where we like can make up a tribe on just about any identity we want to. They're talking about actual like tribes that have existed in the area for thousands of years.
Actual literal tribes.
All right, so I think that probably covers us for our educational stuff, unless there's something specific. I guess the impeachment vote. We could go over the impeachment vote in 2016. That was.
Oh, and that's important because Malima's involved, right?
Yeah. So
let's talk about that. I'll just go right into it.
Yeah.
So when was that? All right. So in 2016, the Parliament went ahead and attempted to impeach him, but they voted to vote down the impeachment. But the impeachment was led by Julius Malema, and Julius Malema is famous for having got up on a stage and said, "We're not calling for the killing of the white farmers yet." And he always talks about kill the Boer, which is the white resident of South Africa. So Malema is not a very good man. He's the leader of the EFF, and he is a very, very dangerous man. And he wants the role of president, and he really wants to have a big conflict there and a big overthrow, just like anywhere that has a socialist insurgency. And he was in the Malema was in the ANC, but he was thrown out for being too extreme. You've got to be pretty darn extreme for the ANC to throw you out.
The ANC, let's be clear, isn't that the party that officially endorses the attacks on white farmers? Is the ANC?
No, that's the EFF. Actually.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But at the time when the ANC got power, when Mandela became in power, what people commonly forget is that Mandela was not in prison for speaking out against apartheid. He was in prison for the ANC bombing campaign that was bombing civilian targets across South Africa.
Things are going bad. They're coming for Stamets, Fisherway, and Wimpy. Things are very fucked right now. Colored, Breno, they stand for their shops to not be robbed. The fuck is that shit? Uh-oh. Fucking nice shit. What the fuck? They're shooting straight in the motherfucker. What the fuck? What? Yo, there's a devil there.
God love him. I love Pidgin English.
Well, there was obviously a bit of a battle over Wimpy Burger, and that's just troubling. That's just troubling.
They will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today.
You know, what's really funny is that I get a lot of South Africans on my account because of my coverage of all of this, and they'll type to me in the half English, half Afrikaans, and half Dutch, and I'm just like trying to make sense of what they're typing. It's really weird. Okay, so
before we start, like, is it just me, or is this a scene out of every zombie movie I've ever seen?
legit, man. So before we play this is how the situation was contained. So you had rioters moving throughout the city center, and they began to move out into the suburbs once they stripped the city center completely clean of merchandise. They started moving out into the suburbs and going for neighborhoods. And then what you found were local citizen militias. The citizens armed themselves, ran out, and manned their own checkpoints. So what we've got here is a group of local citizens, and as you see, it's a very multicultural group, despite what people will tell you about South Africa. The neighbors don't care what color the other neighbors are. They're all going to work together to try and protect their neighborhood. And essentially, this group, and when you see it, it's probably about 20 guys in total, is going to try to stop that, 300, 400 people from coming up the road. They're going to bring them to a dead stop, and then they're going to advance on them and actually turn them. So let's take a look.
Don't waste your ammo.
Yeah, stop.
Let them come. Let them come.
Okay, let's go.
Now they're going to advance on them.
Yeah, there. Oh, it went too hard.
I've been muted, but so judging by the fact that
Yeah, guys, no time to play here.
Judging by the fact that I am not having to edit this video and there are no bodies in the street, they're not shooting to kill. They don't even appear to be shooting to hit.
Right. They're just trying to turn them away and send them somewhere else. Now, probably what would have been better would have been to hold the position on the road and then send a unit around to flank them to push them out.
Yep.
That way you're not advancing and risking losing your weapons. But they did a great job, though, of convincing the crowd to back off. I don't know what these people think those sheet aluminum signs are going to do in the face of bullets. But if you notice, the crowd's firing firearms at them. The crowd's firing rockets at them from fireworks rockets and throwing chunks of concrete at them. That's deadly force. And these guys did a great job of saying, no, you're not coming up this way. You're not coming in our neighborhood.
Now, joke.
Okay, so cover is stuff that will stop bullets. Concealment will hide you. Running down the middle of the street throwing rockets and AKs is neither of those things.
And hiding behind a aluminum road sign is the lowest of all four of those.
It's neither cover nor concealment because I can still see you, and that hot bullet is still going to come flying through it.
Oh, man. All right, so let's finish this up.
We're gonna do what we have to do.
Where's John with the shotgun?
I like that accent.
Oh, yeah, I love the African accent. That's actually only part of that video. They do advance on that crowd. Yeah, it could just be the video.
Sniper position, my boy. That's it, my
Now, you heard of rooftop Koreans, but here we have a balcony wheelchaired South African. Oh, I I have now seen it all. My man is just really he's gonna fight no matter what. He's in the battle.
I know. Like I said, though, just make sure you put them wheel chocks on before you start blowing that gas.
Before you start blasting with that elephant gun.
Put them in out. Numbers. There's our SWAT member. Yeah, you have something to say, sir?
I don't think that guy's really with a SWAT team.
No. Zoo York. Wow, these guys got some good tastes. A rioter technical? Is that what we're seeing?
It looks like it. It looks like it.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Are we sure this is South Africa?
Yeah, it is South Africa. Right?
I think I found out why there are so many starving children there.
But that guy ate all the food.
Let's go back to that real quick.
Let's go back to that. Now, you might have heard of the infamous rooftop Koreans during the LA riots. But during the South African riots, we had the balcony wheelchair-bound South Africans.
Sniper position, my boy.
My man said he's a sniper.
That's it, Marcus.
And he appears to have some sort of a home-built silencer on that bad boy.
Yeah, let's take a look. Let's rate his grip, shall we? Joe, I just realized we can rate his grip, drip, and whip.
All at once. All at once. Yeah, let's rate that. Now, here's the deal. We're talking about Africa, so that's probably some sort of a 455, 464 rifle, right? I mean, it's going to be a legit rifle. So my man's got some good optics going. He's got some suppression going on.
It looks like a Leopold. That's a nice optic.
Yeah, nice optic. I'm betting that's a bush hunting gun, so it's probably got some legit power behind it.
That's a big old can.
And I don't know what that can is going to do on a rifle that big in an urban environment, but my man is ready for combat.
Also masked up.
Well, because when you're in battle with the forces of evil, you should probably worry about your respiratory wellness.
For your protection and mine.
For your protection and mine.
In the past days, looting has spread from stores to factories and warehouses.
Oof.
Ransacking and
I
rioting.
find it ironic that the guy
Africa's
was wearing an Obey hat.
Can I just say, there's a whole lot of this that makes me question, is this South Africa? Or is this Los Angeles? Or is it...
Metro Detroit.
Homeboy's got, it's a Captain America Obey hat, too. I didn't even notice that.
Look at the toilet paper.
Here's the other thing, even in the U.S. riots and here in South Africa, the appliances, dude. The people, what kind of balls do you have to try and, wheel an appliance out the door like that?
Right. Now, if you look, this guy here standing on the box, look at the box next to his leg. It says McDonald's on it.
Oh, it sure as hell does.
I mean, they're looting McDonald's napkins. I'm not even sure. So if you didn't know any better... this looting could have been anywhere in America in 2020.
No, 100%. And all the signage is in English, too. If I turn the audio off, you wouldn't know.
Factories and warehouses. Ransacking and rioting in South Africa's worst violence since apartheid. From the eastern provinces of KwaZulu-Natal to Johannesburg's economic hub.
All of the doors are open. People are walking in.
Highways on
That could
fire,
be a Sam's
skies
Club
full of
right
smoke.
there.
The police hopelessly outnumbered. Protests started with the jailing of former South African President Jacob Zuma last Wednesday, accused of corruption. His supporters see his treatment as a symbol of the current government's repression. If they release Zuma, he says, we would be free. Until then, we keep protesting. But over the weekend, this sparked
I'm not entirely certain how
with
looting the grocery store was going to affect the release of Jacob Zuma.
No. Or KFC or Liquor City. Goddamn. Bullshit. Bullshit. This is Detroit. Go fuck yourself. This is Detroit.
Liquor City and KFC. What's more South African?
Why? How was looting going to bring back George Floyd? How was looting gonna affect change in the laws?
Years of economic hardship, unemployment at 32%, and months of pandemic restrictions. And now the prospect of food shortages and hunger.
And I don't know what
If
can
you
I say
think about
that.
all of those things,
This is not our...
unemployment, food shortages, hunger, COVID restrictions, man, this could happen anywhere in America in a week.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I don't mean to get all Alex Jones on you or anything, but boy, does it seem like this is all being guided by some sort of, I don't know, organization of fancy rich people who think they're better than everyone.
Important is that this happened 9 months ago, right?
Right.
And I have long held a theory that said if you want to know what's going to happen next in America, or in the greater West, watch what happens in South Africa, because South Africa is where these powers that be, to get a little bit Alex Jonesy, is where they first try things, because it's Africa, no one cares. So they try these policies and implement them in South Africa first, because there's already a ready-made crisis there any day of the week, right? And so then what then happens, let's see, they're talking about food shortages, they're talking about high unemployment, they're talking about more COVID restrictions, and then boom, riot happens. And now 9 months later, fast forward, here we are, we're in this spot just before this, and then we have what's going on in Grand Rapids and Portland and Pittsburgh. So it bears out my theory. It's only a conspiracy theory until it's a fact. Oh, we know what we need that story that complains, that was in the Canadian press. That
yeah.
Conspiracy
theories keep getting it right.
And like I said, I have said this all along, that South Africa is their dumping ground. They tried it first with apartheid and tried it first with that government because no one would care, right? Nobody would care if you toppled apartheid. It should have been taken down. But then they went way the other way, and this is the result, and it's where we are today.
I don't know what happened to the government. We don't know, but this is not our fault.
Now it's under fire for not mobilizing nearly as many security forces to tackle this crisis as it did to enforce pandemic lockdowns just a few weeks ago.
And you know what? They're not wrong. They're not wrong. They mobilized more police to control COVID than they did to control actual riot. These things right here could literally be anywhere in America. And every distribution center in Detroit has this, with the wall made of Connexes around it.
Mm-hmm.
In viewing these scenes, this could be anywhere in America. It could be a warehouse center. It could be a distribution center, Sam's Club, anything. There's an Under Armour store right there on fire.
This looks like a U.S. city.
Mm-hmm. And here's why you get out of town early. You can't get out when things start happening, because all of the cars that are smashed up and stuck in the road prevent you from being able to get out of town. That's why I always say leave early. You can always come back. The opposite is not true. Full auto fire there.
Didn't we see somebody slicking up an area with oil before this?
Yeah, I think that's what they did to try and keep the people away, was make it slippery so they couldn't steal much.
Pulled that straight out of Home Alone.
Right? And that's actually what happened is that all of these local security companies and civilian groups started using the Home Alone defensive tactics to try and push these groups away. And that's what held things together. It gave the police a little bit of breathing room to get back on here. Now, I was in contact with several people from South Africa during this, and one guy was from a security company, and they had some property out away from town in KwaZulu-Natal, and they got a call from the police department that said, "Hey, listen, we've been defending our building all night. We're out of ammo. Can we get some?" And so rather than deplete their own, they made a phone call, and they had a guy land at their farm with 20,000 rounds, and then they mounted up a convoy and drove it into town to the police so that the police could defend themselves. And you know what? You commented on that, and it actually worked, because he was carrying a whole bunch of stuff, and then he slipped and fell, and he dropped it.
It worked.
Oh, and this one, there's going to be some dudes get shot in this one.
Yeah, I can toss edits up where we need to on our side of the video once we're done.
So South African police love their shotguns. And on this video, they're walking down here shooting. But I want to advise you against walking like that cop with your bulletproof vest undone, because that hurts.
It's a very bad idea. Like,
Yeah. Now, I don't know that they're necessarily firing lethal ammo here. They could be firing non-lethal rounds, but they dropped some serious rounds on these people. It could just be pepper balls or the rubber stinger balls. I'm not sure.
Or baton rounds. Yeah, I would assume
rounds,
because
yeah.
those. I mean, we made a dickload of those during the Cold War, and I think that they probably have made their way to countries like this.
I can tell you some were used by the U.S. Marines in Panama.
What? No. What? We definitely still don't train people on the use of baton rounds now, and we definitely didn't make a full baton round grenade for the underslung grenade launcher.
Right? And they do wonders on a kneecap. I mean, I'm just saying.
Oof.
This is why I think it's non-lethal rounds, because they're just laying down fire.
I see them hitting people, and I see people taking hits, but I'm not seeing anybody go down. And I'm not.
So it's probably rubber rounds or rubber bullets or whatever. Well, there were some significant arrests of South African police service officers by civilian defense groups. So they were running their own checkpoints and searching cars, and they found South African police with stolen property in their vehicles. That dude is jacking rounds through.
Let's see if we can find a link for that. Oh yeah, dude, look at that bandolier too.
Yeah, my man was ready.
Let's see if he can speed load.
Right.
Take him to competition, baby. I'm telling you, this is Santa Barbara.
It could be. As they were clearing the shopping mall here, and again, I think they were hitting people with rubber ball rounds or whatever. I do like the South African Police Service face masks.
Saps.
They're a bunch of saps.
They sure are. Oh, I love that. I'm sure they love that too.
Yeah, right. Look at that gold exchange. That's over on Grand River Avenue in Detroit.
I'm telling you, bro, that was Charleston. All right, let's see what else we got from The Economist. We can look educated, Joe.
Let's get educated. What's behind the riots?
The past couple of weeks have seen the biggest unrest in South Africa since the end of apartheid in 1994. At least 200 people have been killed, more than 3,000 arrested.
Did you hear what he said? 200 killed, 3,000 arrested. We didn't get anywhere near those numbers in the 2020 Summer of Love, but KwaZulu-Natal is far smaller an area than where we saw the rioting, right? And Johannesburg together are smaller than the areas in which we saw. So it was incredibly violent is the point I'm trying to make. The body count's got to be at least 10 times that, because there were, I saw from a video on a police vehicle, or not a police vehicle, a private security contractor vehicle driving down the road, and the road is just lined with bodies, and the bodies have been there for days.
Yeah.
So I really think the official numbers are way low on this.
Well, and I was also meaning the numbers for the U.S. riots. I think the U.S. riots are
they're way low.
Well, like they did as much as they could to not attribute anything at all to those riots, and it's
if I died in a building collapse, I died in a building collapse. I don't have to say that it was from the riot. Or when they say that that police officer was killed, David Dorn. Now that was a homicide during a robbery. It was not riot related, even though it was riot related.
Well, and let's get on another part of this, because we're on The Economist. We're going to talk about the economics of these riots, and like you say, Johannesburg's a much smaller area than what we had rioting, but the damage, I consistently get drawn back to the damage. The only even estimates that we can get of this, because nobody will do the studies, is insurance, and the insurance generally for these people doesn't even cover a third of what they've lost.
Well, especially in a country like South Africa, you're not going to get the same sort of insurance reimbursement and true number because it's Africa. So the risk model is different. They're not necessarily going to fully rebuild, right? So insurance numbers even will be skewed.
I've covered a fair few political protests on the continent, and naturally that people will target government buildings or military sites. Here the sites were Pick and Pay and Macro and Game, which are all well-known supermarkets. When I was in Durban, I managed to talk my way behind the security fencing to see the damage done to this huge supermarket warehouse. And it was like a mortar shell had hit it or something. The middle entirely
That's
collapsed.
a bit more than a mortar
I was
shell.
just going to say, Jesus Christ, I saw places that were not that torn up that had been seeing consistent combat for 6 months.
Yeah, that's like a battery of 977s hitting that for about a week.
Oh my gosh. Like, no, let's be super honest here. Astival is not that chewed up. Right now, Astival is not this bad. And they've been dropping 500-pounders on that bitch for 3 weeks now.
Yeah, I mean, this is just leveled.
See,
a mortar round. No.
Middle entirely collapsed. There was smoke rising out of it. This really brought home just the scale of what one minister's called economic sabotage. In many cases...
So
interesting.
Interesting. An official government minister has suggested that rioting and tearing down businesses and indiscriminately destroying stuff might be considered sabotage and fifth column activity.
Interesting. Well targeted. And they stole literally everything that was not nailed down in this country.
Oh, and then burned what was.
It was like so many crimes of opportunity. People looted because they could. Some I spoke to in Johannesburg said that it was a result of being hungry, not having a job, being poor. It's impossible to understand, I think, some of this rioting without appreciating the extent of inequality.
You knew the Economist was going to do this, right?
I know.
Sweet Jesus. Justifying this. That's ridiculous.
Well,
and they showed literally the communists who are the cause of the problem in there. Wow.
And the pandemic.
Doesn't that look delicious?
Yeah. Here's some gruel.
The forces that incited the violence weren't trying to take over the country.
Oh, of course not. No, communists are never trying to take over the country. That's definitely not. I mean, they say they're trying to take over. Like when you actually listen to what they're saying on the street, they say, violent revolution and death to the oppressors and
just like here, right?
Yeah,
same thing that we hear here.
Man, before we get started on this, can we just do a quick riff on like the fall of Vice? Like Vice was,
from decent to garbage. You see, here's the thing: it's like anyone else. It's even like Fox, right? So they get out there and they start doing things like, "Hey, we're impacting people's ideas and thoughts. How else can we do that?" And then they start that slide. Hey, if you want to talk about inflation, take a look in the far corner there. You can see a gas station prices. Take a look at that.
Oh no! Oh no!
1641 and 1616.
That's per liter, bro. Hold on. Let's look up. It's renminbi, right?
No, that's China.
Rand. That's what it is.
The rand. I knew it started with an R. And it was something vaguely Germanic.
All right, viewers, we couldn't believe this, so we're just going to do a little segment on this here real quick because this is utterly insane. All right, here's the price of gas today. Here is the price of gas in this video, which was 9 months ago. It was 16.41 per liter, and that's Rand. So the price of gas today is 22.2 Rand. So a Rand is currently, this says $1 US equals 15 Rand. So that's going to be $1.42 a liter. That's still $5.68 gallon.
$5.68 a gallon.
Jesus, no.
That's not that far off from where we are now.
It's not, but it's still painful to look at.
It is painful to look at.
16.40. Well, I don't know what the rand was at that time, though. This only does for today.
Yeah, but go with today's dollars.
So $1.05 a liter. So $4.20 a gallon.
Right in the neighborhood we're at today, and that's where they were 9 months ago.
And that's what caused this. Well, part of it.
In recent weeks, South Africa has seen some of its worst violence since the apartheid era.
That they must know that they will shoot with us, they get it.
Fueled by inequality, the pandemic, and the arrest of a former president. Protests and looting erupted across the country.
I'm looting because we apply for jobs, they don't give us
Right there,
jobs.
right there. How ballsy do you have to be to go grab a fucking Kenmore and just try and wheel it out the door?
What I think is funny is the narrator that said because of inequality, the pandemic, and injustice, they did this. How is taking a Kenmore going to fix any of that?
Let's be clear, we're glossing over their claims about injustice because we just don't know. Like the South African justice system, I don't know. Maybe Joe knows better. I don't know. Zuma does not seem like a savory character. I don't know if he's guilty of what he was charged with or not.
The point is, though, is that despite what most people think about South Africa, it is a modern Western country in the city, in Johannesburg, where this is.
It's just absolutely devastating. What happens here? How long is this going? Are we going to take to get back onto our feet?
As Durban descended into lawlessness, vigilante groups formed to protect private property.
It's open. That's it. Because we can't live like this. This thing has to end.
Amidst the carnage, the scars of apartheid reappeared.
Pause it for just a quick second.
With many left.
So what you saw there was civilian groups arming themselves with bats. I saw an MCX pistol carbine. With whatever they have, because the police aren't coming, no one is coming to help you, and you have to do what you can to protect your city. Look at this. You saw the highway of death coming out of Kuwait City, right?
Yeah.
Look at this. This is very comparable to that.
Oh, yeah. We see a lot of firearms. What is the South African firearm environment like as far as legality for regular citizens?
Now, see, that's a great question. And on Monday, we're going to have a guest on our show who's going to be able to explain that to us. But firearms are basically available in South Africa. Firearms ownership is legal for most. I know during apartheid it was very different, but now pretty much anyone can buy a gun. I don't know the specific laws, but firearms are widely available and legal.
Well, that's
to
good.
own there. They have a big hunting culture and a big self-defense culture because of living in an austere environment
and corrupt government.
Is that a water heater? Oh, it's a fridge.
It's a fridge.
Still, yeah. Come on.
So here's the one point that I want to make, though. When you look at this scene, because everyone wants to always say, yeah, but you know what? It's Africa. But South Africa, as I keep pointing out, is a Western democracy at this point. Look at the clothes they're wearing. Look at the shopping carts. Look at the appliances and the gear available. There's a guy in a Kangol outfit there. All stuff available here. It's not some backwater part of the world. Johannesburg, Cape Town, KwaZulu-Natal, these areas are modern areas with the same stuff you have now.
It's not about race or anything. It's not about race. It's not about race.
And there you have a black African saying it's not about racial issues. Right.
You know
that's what he just said.
You know what's so funny, and I hate to keep doing this, but I have to. That so reminds me of a video. I wish I still had my old account because I could just scroll down my old timeline and find it. 2020 riots. Don't even remember what city it is, but a black gentleman standing outside of the burned out husk of his business, screaming about how, I'm a black man. How was this about race? How did this help me, a black man? How is this helping any of us? Oof.
Man, that's ugly. Again, storage unit could be anywhere in America.
Was ready for
There's
shipment
water
to the
here.
UK. We're immigrating at the end of the month, and
We've arrived on site on Tuesday to assess damage, and we've been here ever since.
Not big music fans, I guess.
Yeah, they left behind the baby grand.
Did it stupidly, like honestly, because we can't say it's politics. This is not politically affiliated to nobody, innit?
Across the week, $1.4 billion worth of damage was caused across the country.
Black people own shit here, so why would it be political? No, it's not. It's just people just fucking around. Simple as that.
He's not wrong.
Simple as that. So yeah, this is what we're left with. It's quite devastating. Now we've got to deal with everything that's gonna happen. Stores getting closed, food shortages. We've been shopping throughout the day. The queue has been
My
long.
man there has a pretty nasty
So,
scar across
it's
his
gonna
nose
get
that he
worse.
probably got from a machete.
Yeah, it looks pretty fresh too, to be honest.
Yeah, it does.
The protest descended into days of widespread rioting and looting, with many
Again,
motivated
shopping mall that
by
could be
hunger
anywhere
and
in a western
unemployment
city.
over politics.
They didn't want the bathtub.
This looks like the set you would set up for an after humanity when everybody's died off.
Exactly, and that's where it ties to tactical wisdom. So this is the post-apocalyptic, post-collapse thing that we all envision, right? And you might say, yeah, but it's Africa. It's Johannesburg, South Africa, which is like any city in America: Chicago, New York, Detroit, Atlanta, Seattle. Could be anywhere. Crazy.
Portland.
Portland.
especially Portland.
Right.
I left my kids for this nonsense. Look.
Durban residents, like trauma doctor Kevin Naidu, have dealt with smaller scale unrest before. The community even has
That's a
their
private
own riot
security
vehicle,
company right there.
but they've not seen anything like this before.
This is the current situation in South Africa, and it's a
to
bleak
give my man a
situation.
tank
We
to
have
ride
been
around
manning
in
this
because he's a
area
tank.
for the last
for
3
sure,
days
bro.
and 3 nights in order to protect our residents from any further looting, any further violence against them, and any damage.
That looks... What is that? That looks familiar. Like, they've obviously modified it, but what?
I think it's a smaller South African buffalo.
It looks like a smaller bearcat.
It's the word. Well, yeah, that's what a buffalo is. It's the South African version of like a Lenco Bearcat. It's one of the first MRAP vehicles ever made.
Huh.
We've been here. Some of us have been sleeping only 2 hours, coming back, taking turns to go and rest and come back.
But not skipping meals.
But not skipping meals.
Tank, don't do that.
Many in Durban formed armed community protection groups.
Armed community protection groups. I advocate that fully in my books. Stop. Pause it right here. Pause it. Back that up just a bit. That's a nice MCX.
Oh, I was gonna say, let's take a look at that grip. But yeah.
So right here, this is something absolutely that I advocate in my second and third books. Actually, it's my third book, where we talk about setting up a checkpoint where you just tell people, look, we have nothing for you, right? And that's exactly what they're saying. There's no food, no spares. I think they mean no spare tires. No entry, right? Go somewhere else. And they're building their own checkpoint to turn people away. Seriously advocate having preparations for this as part of your neighborhood protection plan, 100%. Now let's look at his grip.
Look at that. I'm surprised we haven't seen
So-
more 3D printed stuff, to be
I'm
honest.
pretty sure that's like either a SIG MCX or some one of those pistol carbines you slap your Glock into.
Yeah.
And it's pretty nice.
Yeah, I dig that.
Need to know by show of hands. Who's carrying?
My man got some legit tats
Who's
too.
carrying? How many oaks you got this carrying? No hitching of vehicles, oaks. No antagonizing these oaks. Please, no shooting the oaks with paintballs and pellet guns for nothing.
And so they're running a checkpoint, they're stopping the vehicles, and they're turning them around.
Right.
I had never thought about that. They use
running your own checkpoints?
No. Well, specifically in the context of running checkpoints and trying to do less than lethal or whatever, he just mentioned pellet guns. For the situation we were talking about, just trying to turn people back running along a road like that, a pellet gun would be more than effective to just make somebody...
Especially when you buy one of the higher-end air rifles.
The ones that are actually hunting caliber, yeah.
And they could legit, if you needed to, you could dial it up to lethal force.
Yeah, or you could put it down. I know personally, I have a 50 caliber air rifle that I have for emergency, like super post-apocalyptic hunting, because all I need is a hand air pump that I have enough seal kits for that my kids could rebuild it well into probably a 4th or 7th generation, depending on how careful they were about it. But one of the things that I found when I was doing that is they do happen to make these very interesting rubber balls in exactly the same caliber. Now they're specifically not for shooting at people, mind you. So you would never do that.
No, but if you take one of those pellet guns and you shoot it at the right angle on that windshield, it's going to spider it, and they're going to turn around and go away, and it's not going to penetrate.
100%.
Yep,
they come
absolutely.
here, that's fine. We are going to defend our neighborhood. But otherwise, we're not going to do anything.
Shop owners operating in a business park banded together to repel any looters.
Just try and keep it at that. Okay. I know there's a lot of people that are angry. There's angry people on that side too.
And this is what happens when people realize that no help is coming, right? There's no police, there's no fire, they're not coming for you. They're going to band together and form a neighborhood protection unit. Now, the best thing to do is to do this now.
Beforehand.
So that you're already ready for it.
Yeah, hell, and why not make it a nice, friendly, sociable thing so that not only do you know the people that are in the circle and you're not trying to get to know them the first time in the 30-minute warm-up you have in a parking lot before you're expecting action to come, but...
And look, people are showing up with what they have. So this guy over here in the reflective jacket has some type of baton. The other guy has a golf club. I mean, if you're doing some preparing and some training together, you're going to be a little more prepared, right?
Oh, and also imagine how much more effective these guys would be if they all just had just a simple $50 Baofeng, or if one in 5 of them had a Baofeng.
Absolutely, and you could shoot a scout team down the road with one to say, hey, here comes a car. And how about this? Everyone invested $30 in the same blue windbreaker jacket. You're going to look a little more official. You're going to look a little more united, and you're going to turn people away.
And it's a little harder to infiltrate you.
Absolutely.
But if they come here, if they're coming at us, that's not antagonizing. We're gonna.
Oh, okay.
That's a legit Gerber. He's got the Gerber machete. He's ready to go.
Okay, there, Rambo.
We're gonna take him.
Straight up balaclava too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll be monitoring throughout the night. If you get anything, just give me a call. I'll make my way out.
These private security guards worked around the clock during the week's deadly unrest.
Hold on, you got go back. Stop. Go back. Okay, let's just go back to where he's walking across the street in that ridiculous outfit.
What the fuck?
Okay. Right.
I didn't notice the fucking tight pants, bro.
So, while private security contractors were a massive part of holding things together there, and I was in contact with many of them, could you please not do this?
Joe,
my man is in the tightest tactical pants he could find. For freedom of movement and ability to move, at least, have him a little bit loose. And second of all,
bro, homie had to
blend in.
Homie had to CLP up his legs to get at that rig.
Where's he going to blend in that pattern? Right? You have to think about your camouflage for where you are. But my man looks good.
This belongs in the Joe Dolio Cargo Short Appreciation Station. That like this straight up looks like something we'd see in there too.
Yeah, you might want to screenshot that and send it over. Yeah. Oh man.
All right,
brother, you're killing me, man.
It's a lot cleaner than what it was.
Man doesn't even need a sling.
You know what? I'm sorry. I have to. There's one more about that. Yeah, there's that. He's also. Why are we got it folded? We've got our tack grip, but we're gonna leave it folded, right? And then
I don't even think he has a folding stock. I think it's gone.
The next load.
You're right. It's gone. Look right there. It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Took it off.
Chasing like crazy.
My man's trying to push the ATM machine out of the building.
What was with
that's
that?
a buffalo right there. That's a buffalo. MRAP.
Why?
That's meant to. That's one of the first MRAPs.
Oh, I know.
It was made for the South African Bush War. That's why it sits up so high.
And let's talk about that, guys. So, mine resistant. These are wonderful. They shape the hull so that if a mine goes off underneath it, you see how that. This is a perfect shot to see it too. That V shape. It goes all the way down the main hull system.
And the South Africans are pretty much who invented that entire concept during the South African Angola border war and the Bush War. So that's one of the best designs. It's had staying power. It's a fantastic armored vehicle.
Security guards tried to protect shops and services in the city of Durban.
Oh, I can.
By chasing
How many guns
looters
can I
and
carry at
dispersing
once?
them with rubber bullets.
Now, tactically, don't carry a shotgun, a long rifle, and a handgun. Leave one of them behind.
Oh no! I think you missed one. He's also got an SMG.
Does he?
I guess it's a long rifle. I thought it was an SMG. No, yeah, that's an SMG. That looks MP5 size.
It's the same AK the other guy just had, but that one actually has a sling on it. So don't carry your submachine gun and your shotgun and your pistol. You can leave one of them in the car. It's okay.
Also, I'm sorry, but like, I wouldn't leave this doorway without someone securing the doorway with all these people.
I also wouldn't leave all those people off to my left.
Yeah, this is, this gives me the tingles, and not in a good way.
Look at the guy in the mirror. Boom. That's pretty nice. Is that? Oh, that's an R7, I think.
Those without security had to protect essential services.
There's that gas again.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, apart from the gas prices, look at this. This is anywhere in America. There's even a Seattle coffee company there.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, look. I mean, they're rolling down the road in their Audi. My man's got on his cargo shorts.
Standard bank.
Shotgun. But again, protecting the gas station. Hey man, do you have cash or not? If you don't have cash, you can't come in. And you're right. It does say Seattle Coffee Company right on there.
God damn, dude.
Themselves.
What are we doing at the moment?
Fuck you, this is Portland.
We are trying to assist the community. We're all business owners, and we are helping.
That guy's
out
from
where we
Arkansas.
Dude, I love his beard.
can. We're one of the first petrol stations to have got fuel in. All the guys are armed to ensure that our infrastructure doesn't get ruined. We've all sacrificed to ensure that we create unity in our community.
As the city.
I like him.
Yeah, and now see this bush plane. I had communication with some people in South Africa during that time frame. These planes were what they were flying ammunition around to each other in. So in most farms in South Africa, they're large, and their driveway you can land a plane on. And so these bush pilots were just flying ammo around from place to place to get it where it needed to be for these protection groups. And the protection groups then resupplied the police. It was a pretty rough time for that week.
Gall, and I just have to say, these are real similar to a lot of, just a thought, light sport aircraft. That's essentially all that is.
And I point out in the article I wrote about this that when you start getting into these neighborhood protection groups and talking to the people, anyone over the age of 16 was manning a checkpoint, and they were working for 12 to 18 hours at the checkpoint, grabbing a couple of hours sleep, and then they would do other support duties like cooking and cleaning or working the aid station before getting put back on a checkpoint. So this whole situation in KwaZulu-Natal last year is exactly a glimpse into what without rule of law life will be like. And it's just a perfect example, and that's why we're doing the video.
We definitely went
There's a
into
lot of fodder here for the cargo shorts appreciation thing. And there's the toilet paper. We're in good
Diapers.
shape now.
Pampers.
We're in good shape now.
Pampers and toilet paper, baby. All we need is wipes. We can survive for a few months. Ramen, I think. Yeah. Hey, homeboy's got an actual stock.
My man got the classic AK.
Dude, is that... No, like, that is, like, classic.
It is. I mean, that's a 47. That's not a 74.
Ooh.
Look at that bad boy.
Like
Look at that.
forward.
That's an LG factory, right? Could be anywhere in America.
Oh, boy. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, that building is gone. It's probably burned out.
Yeah, that's what I was just looking at the damage pattern. It looks like fire
Oh, yeah.
damage to the roof.
That's where all the heat went.
We have to make sure that we build a country where this never happens again.
Oh,
We
it's
have to make our
happening now.
people feel secure.
Wait, what?
in the country.
Stop.
Wait, oh.
Stop.
And Joe Dolio made an appearance over there, by the way.
You're just gonna drop that in the middle of a montage and not say dick about it. Like,
We have to make our people.
stop. I love this so much. I have to know
I'm
more.
going to order this because I feel like I need it. And you cannot stop me.
I have to know more about why he was there.
My man has the groin protector even. I mean,
Dude.
he is ready for battle.
Oh, it is.
People feel secure in this country, that they never feel so disinvested that they can just destroy.
I'm telling you, I've found out the reason why there are starving children in Africa.
Because the adults are eating. Not many
Some-
meals were missed.
Oh, man.
Liquor shop.
How do we honestly restructure?
Oh.
Remember my comment earlier about the highway of death running north from Kuwait City back to Iraq?
Oh.
Here it is. And I'm betting that's the LG plant that they were just standing at up there on top of
Yeah,
the fire.
I think you're right.
It looks like it, too.
And redefine South Africa so that the South Africa can be inclusive one, where a black person and a white person and an Indian person can interact at night and feel secured that I am meeting my fellow South Africans.